Hello, this is Graham from the Grahamophones and Restoragram websites. Prompted by a purchase I made recently, I thought I would add a little video to go with the ones I've been doing on speed calibration and speed setting on gramophones. The purchase that prompted me to do this extra video was this little device. It's called a speed tester. And this one was produced by HMV, though other manufacturers did bring out similar models. It came to me with a purchase I recently bought at auction, an HMV 102, and this was with it. So as it was related to speed setting and calibration, and I'd been doing videos on that, I thought I would do a little video on this device. Now, it's worth remembering that way back in 1900s, I guess the first decade of the 20th century, there was facility for setting speed on gramophone motors, but it was basically something that you either a knob that you twisted or some similar device. There was no indication of the actual speed. You basically put your record on and you did the speed adjustment until it sounded right. It was only later on, when there was a standardisation of the speed at 78 and 80 RPM, the manufacturers then started to give some speed indication with the speed control that they were putting on the gramophones. Some were reluctant to do this because it wasn't a very accurate system, so some wouldn't commit themselves to numbers, but rather they put slow or fast so you can move it one way or the other. Anyway, by 1921, in 1921, HMV brought out the first design of their speed tester. They brought out 4 basically altogether over the next 10 years and next decade, almost next decade. And they were all basically the same. This one actually was the second version to come out with some slight design modifications. This one was about 1924, between 1924 and 1928. Very clever the way it worked. I'll just show you what happens. Underneath there is a hole, and you notice that is about, well, it is the same size as a turntable spindle. That actually sat on the turntable spindle. Directly above that, you can probably see floating around a little brass button. And I can press that. That's connected by a lever to a weight underneath there. Let me get this in a position where we can start moving around. There it is. Essentially what happened is you put that on your spindle of your gramophone turntable, set the thing in motion, and as it revolved, inertia forced that weight out. Now, as it couldn't go out too far, it would go up, because it's controlled obviously by the lever, the bar that's coming there through the fulcrum for that pivot, which is, you can just see it there against my white shirt. And so what would happen, inertia would force that out as the gramophone revolved, and that button would be brought down to a position between its two extremes, either up there or well down into the body. Now, if it was up there, the speed was too slow. If it was down in the body, it was too fast. And 78 was supposed to be where that button sat flat. Now, I'll show you how that actually works on a gramophone turntable. Now, I didn't get the instructions with this. You can get these. They crop up on eBay quite regularly, and they're nice boxes with instruction manuals. Now, I don't know whether that indicates that they were not much use or rarely of any use, but they do crop up like that. Mine didn't. Mine didn't come with any instructions or any box. Now, as for where you read the speed, I have read that you put it on the record, and then with the record spinning, you watched what was happening to this button as the record was playing. However, that one doesn't seem realistic to me with some gramophones, particularly the swan neck or even the gooseneck of HMV, because this, I'm certainly on a 10-inch record, would be impeded by the position of the tone arm. So the two things wouldn't work together. So the only way you could use it, I could see, on an HMV machine would be to use it purely on the turntable. Anyway, let's have a look that in action. So I'll close down and then we'll move in and have a look at what happens when we try it on this Electrola 101 that I've got out here. Okay, so I'll close down now and see you in a second. Okay, so here we go. There's the Electrola turntable and here's the gadget. You notice I've not got a record on this. I'm not sure whether it does say in the instructions you to test the speed whilst playing a record. As I mentioned earlier, I can't say how you can because the position of this on the turntable will impede the movement of the arm and vice versa. Anyway, let's do it on purely on a turntable. There's the spindle hole, as I mentioned earlier, that fits on there. You can see in stationary position we've got the little brass marker button standing proud of the body of the device. Switch it on and that should, there we go, start to go into the centre. Now it's still sitting up a little bit, so the theory of this says if you increase the speed it will go down level. There we go. If we go too far, there you are, it's disappeared into the body of the machine. So as a gadget for setting 78 RPM, this was supposed to be the bee's knees. Whether it is or not, I don't know. I've not tested it against a digital tachometer to see what it's actually reading. And guess what, I'm not going to. But it's an interesting little gadget. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall when it was being designed. Some little old fella up at HMV chewing the end of his pencil. Did he do it by mathematics? Did he do it by trial and error? Who knows? Still, an interesting little gadget. Well, there we go. Well, thanks for watching and I'll see you again sometime. Bye-bye.